Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So going to do the this is chapter 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, text 1. Yeah. Sutta Uvacha. Can you hear me? Sorry, before I start. Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Sutta Uvacha. Jagrahi Purusham Rupam. Bhagavan Mahadadibihi. Sambhutam Shodasa Kalam. Adauloka Sisirkshaya.
Buddha said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was the purpose of creating the material universe.
Yasyam bhasi sayanasya yoganidram vitanvataha naviradambujadasid brahma vishvasrajampatihi.
A part of Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest.
Okay, verse 3. Yasya vayava samsthanai kalpito loka vistaraha tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvam urjitam.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, that he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in the spiritual existence par excellence.
Pashyanto dorupam adaprachakshusha sahasrapadorupujananaputam sahasramurdha shravanaskinesikam sahasramulyam barakundalolasat.
It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the creative material ingredients. His body is eternally in the spiritual existence par excellence. Can you please move it down? Actually, I need to read text 4. I need to read the translation, text 4.
Yes, we can't see the translation. Thank you.
The devotees, with their perfect eyes, see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings, and adorned with garlands.
Okay, text 5. Etananavataranam nidhanam bijam avyayam yasyam samsena shichyante devatiryanaradayaha.
This form, the second incarnation, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created.
Text 6. Sa eva prathamam devaha kaumaram sargam ashritaha chachara duscharam brahma brahmacharyam akhanditam.
First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the 4 unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth.
Text 7. Dvitiyam tu bhava yasya rasatalagatam mahim udarisyan upadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu.
The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a bull, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe.
Text 8. Tritiyam rishi sargam vai devarsi tvam upatyasaha tantram satvatama chesta naiskarmyam karmanam yataha.
In the millennium of the rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas, which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action.
Text 9. Turye dharma kala sarge nara narayana vrishi bhutvatmopasamopetam akarat dushcharam tapaha.
In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayan, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses.
Text 10. Panchama kapilo nama siddesha kala vitlutam provacha suraye sankyam tattvagrama vinirnayam.
The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to a Suri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost.
Text 11. Sastham atrerapatyatvam prataprapto nasuyaya anviksikim alarkaya prahalada dibhya uchivan.
The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage CH3. He was born from the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alaka, Prahlad, and others, Yadu and Haya.
Text 12. Tatha saptama akutyam rucharyagno bhaya jayata sayamadya suragnane apats swayambhu vantaram.
The seventh incarnation was Yagna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi, and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
now I can. Which words you
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Text 13. Astame merudevyam tu nabirjata urukramaha darshayan vartamadhiranam sarvashram namaskritam.
The eighth incarnation was King Rishabh, son of King Nabi, and his wife Merudevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all others, by all orders of life.
Text 14. ऋषिभिर्यचितो भेजे नवमां पार्थिवं वपुः दग्धे माम् असदीर्विप्रास् तेनायं स उसत्तमः.
O Brahmanas, in the 9th incarnation, the Lord prayed by the sages accepted the body of a king, Ritu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive.
Text 15. Rupam sajagrahe matsyam chakshushodati samplave navyaropya mahimayam apad vaivasvatam manam.
When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshushamanu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Devaswata Manu, keeping him up on a boat.
Text 16. Sura Sura Namudadim Matnatham Mandarachalam Dadre Kamatha Rupena Prashta Ekadase Vibhuhu.
The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theist and the atheist of the universe.
Text 17. Dhanvantaram Dvadasamam Trayodasamam Evacha Apayayat Suran Anyan Mohiyan Mohayan Striya.
In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheist by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink.
Text 18. Chaturdasam Narasimham Pribrad Daityendram Urjitam Daddara Karjai Urau Irakam Katakrat.
In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Nishima and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane.
Text 19. Panchamadasam Vamanakam Kritva Gad Adar Advaram Balahe Padatrayan Yachamanaha Pratyadi Sustri Pistapam.
In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of the dwarf Brahmana, Varman, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali, although at the heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems. He simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land.
Text 20. Avatare Sodasame Pashyan Brahma Druho Nripan Trisapta Kritva Kupito Dikshatram Akaran Mahim.
In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord, as Brigapati, annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriya, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class.
Text 21. Tatha Saptadase Jataha Satyavatyam Parasarat Chakre Vedataro Shakha Tistva Pumsolpamedashaha.
Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasdev appeared in the room of Satyavati through Purusha Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent.
Text 22. Nara devatvam apanna surakarya chikirshaya samudra nigraha dini chakre viryan yata param.
In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Ram in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist King Ravan, who was on the other side of the sea. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna. Please forgive me for any mistakes I have made. I know I have made few, but please do forgive me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. A wonderful recitation. Both the Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you see the slides on the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I have to say that I plan to prepare this in a very nicely elaborated way because there is so much to talk about for today's festival, a very, very auspicious day. But due to some time constraints, I could not complete my presentation. All the slides are not complete, but I'll try and speak from my memory, whatever I'm inspired by Guru Maharaj. So please forgive me and we will try. So today is actually a day of His Grace Mukunda Hare Prabhu for verse 9, but he has some other important arrangements and other commitments. So we thought, okay, why not talk about the festival that is today is the most auspicious day, as all of you know, Akshaya Tirthiya. So we will do the recitation and then we decided amongst ourselves, the facilitators, that let's talk about Akshaya Tirthiya. So I had services at the temple during the day and I have still tried my best. So please give me your blessings. We'll start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parishana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरम्. So Hare Krishna. Today happens to be Akshaya Tirthiya, and so it's supposed to be verse 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam. But as I said, that instead of cancelling the class, as no one else was available, we thought we will discuss the significance of this auspicious day today, which comes once in a year, and it is Akshaya Tirthiya. So, the such auspicious days in Vedic calendar, they are very significant for our spiritual practice, and they also mark very special pastimes and activities performed by Supreme Lord in his various incarnations. And some of the very special events happen on such auspicious day, and if we also practice our devotional service on these days with more attention, then we can make tremendous amount of spiritual advancement. So these festival days have very special significance, and celebrating the festivals and worshipping the Supreme Lord with special attention, it takes us one step ahead in our spiritual practice. So that is the significance, and it makes us come more closer to Krishna, Supreme Lord. So there is a beautiful shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, which comes on in the 5th canto, 19th chapter, and text 24. Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga न साधवो भागवतास्तदाश्रयः न यत्र यज्ञेशमखा महोत्सवा सुरेशलोकोऽपि न वै स सेव्यताम्. Translation: an intelligent person does not take interest in a place, even in the topmost planetary system, if the pure Ganges of topics concerning the Supreme Lord's activities does not flow there. If there are not devotees engaged in service on the banks of such a river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtan Yagna to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtan Yagna is recommended in this age. So also this verse, what it says, if also we go line by line, and as per the translation and purport of Srila Prabhupada, Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga. What it means is that the place where the pastimes of Supreme Lord, his Nam, Rupa, Guna, Lila, the qualities of Supreme Lord Krishna, if they are not sung, that place is not worth living. Nasadhavo Bhagavatas Tadashrayaha. The place where devotees of the Supreme Lord have taken shelter of the river of discussion of Krishna's pastimes, if that is not there, that place where devotees are not discussing Krishna Katha, then that place is not worth living. And Nayatra Yagnesha Makha Mahotsavaha. So, the place where festivals commemorating Krishna's pastimes and qualities are not being celebrated, that place is not worth living. So, which is a place that is not worth living? One, place where Krishna's devotees are not there. And okay, so let's go positively. What is the place worth living? So, first thing, place where Krishna's devotees are there. Secondly, place where Krishna's Katha is being discussed, and the place where festivals are celebrating the activities of Supreme Lord. Such festivals are conducted, and so festivals, they have special significance, and this is clearly stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Suresha Loko Pinavaisa Sevyatam. So if Krishna Katha, association of devotees, and festivals, these three things are not there, even if that place is the abode of King of Heaven, Indraloka, also that place is not worth living in. So this emphatic opinion presented in the 5th canto, it is better to live in an airtight womb of a mother than to come out of a womb and live in a place where no Krishna Katha, no devotee association, and no festivals are celebrated to worship the Supreme Lord. So this is the significance of the festivals. And this way Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies all the festivals. So today is the most auspicious day of Akshaya Tirthiya, and in the Vedic calendar, there are three auspicious festivals. There are so many, but there are these three particular, and there are many festivals, as we know, and different festivals in different Vaishnava Sampradaya. But as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we celebrate Janmashtami, Radhashmi, God Purnima, Nityanand Trayodasi, many other festivals. But in the Vedic calendar, there are three special days. So one is Vijayadashmi, second is Akshaya Tirthiya, and third is Ugadi. So these 3 days are considered very auspicious, and throughout the day, you can celebrate any auspicious event. There is no particular muhurta. So there is no inauspicious time at all during these 3 days. And today being Akshaya Tirthiya day, there is no moment of today that is considered inauspicious. So to open a temple or to conduct a ceremony, we have to look for some good muhurta, right? But on Akshaya Tirthiya day, every moment is auspicious and we can start any activity at any moment of the day without looking at the Muhurta. And Akshaya Tirthiya day is very auspicious. This is Vaishakh Shukla Paksh Tritiya. So it's a very hot season at the moment. Also in India, it's a May month, and the third day of Shukla Paksh falls on today, which is Akshaya Tirthiya. What are the various events that took place on this day in the universal history? There are many pastimes, and we will try to discuss a few, but I have listed down the ones that I was aware of. So first of all, I could also actually summarize. So I can just list all the events, and then from here we can just pick a few, because obviously we are always running out of time, especially when I'm speaking. So the various events that happened, firstly that I'm aware of is that Lord Parshuram Jayanti is today. Secondly, descent of Ganga on earth took place on Akshaya Tirthiya day. This day also marks the beginning of Treta Yuga, and barley that is used as oblation in Homa sacrifices was created today. Sudama met Krishna in Dwarka today. Pandavas received Akshaya Patra from sun god. Vyasadev started compilation of Mahabharat and Ganeshji wrote it. Kuvera received the position of treasurer of demigod. Srila Prabhupada had established, before establishing ISKCON, he had established League of Devotees in Jhansi on 13th May 1953 on this day. Durga Devi killed Mahishasur. Construction of chariots starts on this day for the Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra in Puri. This day also marks beginning of Chandan Yatra, which lasts for 21 days. And we will try and look at that pastime where Virat Raja organized Nauka Vihar pastime, and he also applied Chandan personally on Krishna and Balram. And Madhavendra Puri pastime is also happened during this time, and there is a famous pastime of how he applies Chandan on Gopinathji that was meant for Gopalji. And Badrinath temple darshan opens this day, and also whereas for 21 days Chandan is applied to all the other Utsav deities or other deities in many ISKCON temples and in Vrindavan and many other auspicious tirthas and dhamas. What happens in Vishakhapatnam, there is a beautiful temple of Varaha Narsimhadev deity in Simhachalam. What happens there is opposite. They remove the Chandan on today's day, so we can take a darshan of Varaha Narsimha Dev in his original deity form without Chandan. So throughout the year, Chandan is applied on him, this deity, but on today's day, Chandan is removed. So these are around 14 that is listed here. That I was aware of from having heard many other lectures of Guru Maharaj and other amazing devotees. So first of all, as we said that Lord Parshuram Jayanti is today. So on this day, Lord Parshuram appearance day is there. He was a Shaktiavesh avatar of Supreme Lord, and he was empowered with certain Shakti of Supreme Lord. So as we know, also we are going through the Leela avatars, right now, which overlaps with Shakti avatara as well. So one of them is also like, say, for example, Lord empowers all these incarnations with certain potencies. Yes, someone has raised hand. Is there, who's raised hand? Or is it by mistake? You can unmute and speak if there is anything. So Prithu Maharaj, he was empowered with the Palana Shakti, which is ruling potency, right? Narada Muni is empowered with Bhakti Shakti, and four Kumaras, they are empowered by Gnana Shakti. And so Parshuram was empowered by Dushta Damana Shakti. So that means that that potency of Lord that specifically subdues villains or miscreants, demoniac people, materialistic people, and he represents Dushta Daman Shakti of Supreme Lord. So today is his appearance day as well. And another important event, actually there are very nice pastimes also of Parshuram, Lord Parshuram. His father was Jamadagni, and there are 2-3 more pastimes, but considering the time, we will move on. Maybe another time we can discuss that. So the another event that happened is very important on Akshaya Tirthiya day was the descent of Ganga, river Ganga. So Ganges river came to this earthly planet today's day, and when Lord Vamana Dev pierced the covering of universe, you know, when Bali Maharaj gave 3 steps of land, then he takes 2 steps, he takes away everything, and during those steps he pierces his toe, the covering of universe, and the celestial Ganges descended into the universe. But Ganges remains in the higher planets only. And so there is a nice pastime here that Bhagirath, a great devotee of Supreme Lord, he prayed to Ganga to descend to earthly realm. Now, Bhagirath was a descendant of Sagara Maharaj, who had 60,000 sons. So what happens once is that he was performing Ashwamedha Yagna, and somehow during that sacrifice, the horse was lost. You know, Ashwamedha Yagna, horse is one of the things that's used, which is Ashwamedha, right? Ashwa means horse. So what happened is that they lost the horse. So the 60,000 sons were searching for this horse, and they went deep into the earth, and they found near Kapila Muni's ashram this horse. So what they thought is that Kapila Dev has stolen the horse. But Kapil Dev, he is an incarnation of Supreme Lord. When we come to third canto, we will read more about him. He is a sage. Now, how can he steal a horse? There is no need for him to steal the horse, right? So, but these sons, they thought they misunderstood Kapila, and they offended him by doubting him and saying that he's a thief. And because of such great offense to such great personality, they lost their lives. Now, they were burnt to ashes. They were burnt to ashes by their own offense. It was not by Kapila Dev's anger. And Bhagavatam clearly says that. Some people say that Kapila Dev burned them, but no. What happened is they were burnt because of their own offense to great personality. So, such offense of offending great personality or Supreme Lord, that offense itself is sufficient for our ruination. So, not because others become angry or curse us. That is not how it is. So, after Sagar Maharaj, there were more descendants of, so they were Anshuman, Dilipa, many descendants, and they all tried to rescue the 60,000 sons and bring them back to life, but they were not successful. And they knew that if the celestial Ganges touches their ashes, then they can be purified and delivered. But Bhagirath Muni, he succeeded because he was very famous for his austerity and determination. So he fervently prayed to Mother Ganges that please come and deliver my forefathers, and they are lying there in the piles of ashes, and please deliver them. So with the devotion of Bhagirath and his well-wishing nature for his forefathers, Ganga agreed. So, but then Ganges had two concerns. So she says that I will descend to Bhuloka, but I will come with great force, and who can tolerate my force? It can even, the force is so powerful that it can make a hole in the earthly planet, and it could go down to the lower planets like Patala, because we are in the middle and the lower planet. So it could go down and it could pierce through earth. So who can bear my force? Ganges said, and who can make my descent slow and smooth? So Bhagirath Muni says that I will pray to Lord Shiva. So, and fervently he requests Lord Shiva that please you take Ganges on your forehead, and that's how you take the power of her force. And so the Ganges can then slow down and come down to earth very smoothly. So, and secondly, the second concern, okay, so the first one is addressed that Lord Shiva will take the force. But the second concern was that on earth there are so many sinful people, Ganga said, and they come to take bath and they will dump all their sinful activities in me. And I will end up with all this sinful reaction accumulated in my waters. So, what is the solution? So Bhagirath Muni very beautifully describes that, my dear Ganga, do not worry at all. He says this is the verse then that Bhagirath Uvacha, Sadhavo Nyasina Shant, Sadhavo Nyasina Shanta, Brahmishta Lokapavanaha, Harantyagam Ting Sangat, Teshvastehya Agar Darihi. So Bhagirath said that those who are saintly because of devotional service and are therefore in the renounced order, free from material desires, and who are pure devotees, expert in following the regulative principles mentioned in the Vedas, are always glorious and pure in behavior, and are able to deliver all fallen souls. When such pure devotees bathe in your water, the sinful reactions accumulated from other people will certainly be counteracted. For such devotees, always keep in the core of their hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can vanquish all sinful reactions. So, this is the solution that Sadhavo Nyasina Shanta. There are sadhus who are pure devotees of Lord, and they are very renounced and detached, and they have absolutely no interest in sense gratification, and they are very peaceful. And Brahmishta Loka Pavanaha, they are fixed in their obedience to Supreme Brahman Krishna, and they are spiritually inclined. They can purify entire universe. What to speak of purifying a river? Haranti agamte nga sangat. So you may be accumulating the sins of common people, but when these sadhus, pure devotees, will come and take bath in your waters, you will be relieved from all those sins by their anga sangat, means when the bodies of such pure devotees touch the waters of Ganges, even Ganges will be relieved from all the accumulated sinful reactions dumped into her water. So, holy men, they are the holy devotees, they are holier than the holy river. So, definitely, Ganga is very pure, extremely pure. Ganges water emanates from lotus feet of Sri Krishna, and thus she is extremely pure. And the dust from lotus feet of Sri Krishna, they always exist in the water of Ganges. It is mixed with not only dust but also the tulsi leaves, the aroma of tulsi, which is offered to Krishna, is mixed with the Ganges water. And Ganges water has Krishna's dust and flavor of tulsi offered to Krishna's lotus feet. Thus, Krishna's lotus feet is always worshipped with tulsi leaves. And there is also a beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. Let's have a look. तस्यारविन्दनयनस्य पदारविन्दा किञ्जल्कमिश्रतुलसी मकरन्दवायुः अन्तर्गतः स्वविवरेण चकार तेषां संक्षोभम् अक्षरजुषामपि चित्ततन्वोः. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves from the toes of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead entered the nostrils of the sages, here they're talking about the four Kumaras, they experienced a change both in body and mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. So we know that the four Kumaras, although they were attached to Brahman conception earlier, they were transformed into pure devotees when this tulsi fragrance entered their nostrils. They developed inclination to perform pure devotional bhakti to Krishna because of smelling the tulsi offered to Krishna's lotus feet. And already Krishna's lotus feet has a natural fragrance and then mixed with the tulsi leaves fragrance. So just to cut it short then, that the Bhagirath Muni, so he requested Lord Shiva to hold the Ganges on his head and her force, he requested him to bear her force, and Shiva is very powerful, and so Lord Shiva agreed, and the name Shiva means very auspicious actually, and who becomes all the more auspicious by the touch of Ganges that has washed the lotus feet of Krishna. So there is a beautiful shloka again in the third canto. यच्चौच निःश्रत सरित प्रवरोदकेन तीर्थेन मूर्ध्यनति कृतेन शिव शिवोऽभूत् ध्यातुर्मनः शमलशैलनिसृष्टवज्रं ध्याचे चिरं भगवतश्चरणारविन्दम्. The blessed Lord Shiva becomes all the more blessed by bearing on his head the holy waters of Ganges, which has its source in the water that wash the lotus feet, and it acts like thunderbolts hurled to shatter the mountain of sin stored in the mind of the meditating devotee. One should therefore meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long, long time. So later he releases the Ganga, Lord Shiva will release the Ganga, and Bhagirath showed the direction of Mother Ganges to the place where his forefathers, Sagara's 60,000 sons, were lying as the pile of ashes, and all of them were delivered by the determination of Bhagirath and by the mercy of Ganga, ultimately by the mercy of Supreme Lord. So through this event, Ganges river descended on earthly planet on Akshaya Tirthiya day. So, so we've discussed Parshurama's appearance day, and then we spoke about the descent of Ganges river. There are so many other, we numbered like 12 or 14, right? So Akshaya Tirthiya also marks the beginning of Treta Yuga. And Treta Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was sacrifices, doing the yagnas. And in the yagnas, barley is offered as oblations. So also on this day, barley is first time invented or created. And as we know, in Satya Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is meditation. In Dwapar Yuga, it is deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, it is chanting, Sankirtan Yagna. So these are the special things for each yuga, and barley seeds were also created on Akshaya Tirthiya day. Thereafter, Sudama, he meets Lord Krishna in Dwarka, and we have all heard this pastime also, that they were both studying in the Shandipani Muni's ashram, and we know that they both learned in 64 days, 64 arts, and you know, once they go to the forest to collect the firewood, and we know that story, what happens there, and then thereafter we know that how Sudama, upon the request of his wife, because he's so poor, goes to meet Krishna, and so yeah, all this pastime also happens on this day, and we know that Krishna shows how much he loves his devotees, how nicely he greets Sudama, washes his feet, and we know that Krishna doesn't want anything from us. He wants love. And there is that beautiful pastime of Poha, that he takes from Sudama and he eats with such it was such a big thing for Krishna to get this poha. There was nothing that was more sweeter to him than eat the poha that was brought by Sudama. So this beautiful meeting of Sudama and Krishna takes place on this day. And thereafter, also the Pandavas, they received Akshaya Patra on this day from sun god. So we also know that how Pandavas, they lost everything in the gambling match, and then they have to go on exile. And then being Yudhishthir Maharaj, being so charitable by nature, even though they are in the forest, he was looking after and looking after Brahmanas and feeding them. And sun god has given them Akshaya Patra, which means that this Patra would produce food every day, and it can feed unlimited numbers of people who come to Yudhishthir Maharaj ashram. And so all the Pandavas and Draupadi, they would feed them. But the condition was that after Draupadi eats, this Patra will not produce any more food for the day. And next day, again, the Patra will start the production of food until Draupadi has eaten. So here also there is this beautiful pastime happens where Duryodhan, being so envious, he tells Durvasa Muni to go and take hospitality of Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is in the forest. But at the same time, he says, go late afternoon. Don't go very early, because he knows by then Draupadi would have eaten and the Akshay Patra would not produce any more food. So how will the Pandavas feed this Durvasa Muni? And we all know the nature of the Durvasa Muni. He can easily get offended, and then the consequences are very bad. So we all know what happens there. But then anyway, the Durvasa Muni comes, they've all eaten, there is no food, but Krishna, being so merciful on Pandavas, always by their side, he comes and he tells Draupadi, show me the Patra, while Durvasa Muni and his disciples had gone to take bath. And Draupadi says, there is nothing here, we've all eaten. He said, just get it. And then he finds just one grain of rice, and Krishna eats it. The minute he eats it, we know that if Krishna is satisfied, the whole world is satisfied. There is Yashmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. So what happens is this Durvasa Muni and all his disciples, while taking bath, all of a sudden they felt like their bellies were so full, and they were full up to their throat with having eaten so much. They get this feeling that they cannot eat anymore. And when Bhima comes to call them that come for the prasad, they are trying to actually run away from that place, that now we can't eat anymore and we will have to eat if we go. So this is how Lord Krishna saves his devotees. And on this day also, Vyasadev, he started the compilation of Mahabharat on Akshaya Tirthiya day, and he dictated it. So Ganeshji was selected to write it, and but Ganeshji says that Vyasadev, you should not stop the dictation. You must narrate continuously. That is my condition. So Vyasadev said, oh, this is a difficulty, because, for a writer, for a speaker, they need to take a pause, because they have to rearrange. They need to think after this paragraph, what will come, like that. One needs to take a pause. So he said, okay, very well, fine. But I also have a condition, that you should first understand and then write. So that gives Vyasadev time to compile, and time to, work out, to take a pause. And so Ganeshji has to understand first, and then only he can write. So that is that one beautiful pastime that happened. And we all know Kuvera. He is the wealthiest demigod, and he is custodian of wealth for all the demigods. So he received this position of Kuvera. Kuvera received the position of Kuvera on this day. And so before establishing ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has established another institute that was called League of Devotees. And that happened on Akshaya Tirthiya day on May 13th, 1953 in Jhansi. And Durga Devi kills Mahishasur on today's day. And in Jagannath Puri, we know annually Rath Yatra takes place. And so on today's day, actually what happens is that the actual construction of the chariots of all the three chariots, Jagannath's chariot is called Nandi Ghosh, Lord Balaram's chariot is called Tal Dhwaja, and Subhadra Devi's chariot is called Darpa Dalana. Their construction starts on today's auspicious day. And Pandavas, again, they were sent on Agnatavas. We know that 13th year they had to live incognito. So they lived in one kingdom of a king called Virat Raj. And they were all living like a common people. Nobody knew who they are, because if they find out, then they have to start this 13th year of cognito again. But this king finds out that actually these people are Pandavas. Someone was working in Goshala, Bhima was a cook, Arjuna was teaching dance, Draupadi became a maid servant. But somehow the king finds out, and he knew these are the pure devotees. They are very much favored by Krishna. So he obviously wanted to keep them and be of assistance to them. But he says that, please, I would really like you, he tells Yudhishthir Maharaj, to invite Krishna Balram, and I would like to serve Krishna Balram. So that is the favor I want, because you are the pure devotees and relatives of Krishna and Balram. So then there is also, this is the very beautiful pastime, and we know that how Krishna is so dear to Pandavas also. And there is also one beautiful verse of their relationship in first canto. One, we will come to that when we come to the 16th chapter. Let me see if I can find it. सारर्थ्य पार्षद सेवन साख्य दौत्या वीरासनानुगम स्तवन प्रणामान् स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणीतं च विष्णोर् भक्तिं करोति नरपतिश्चरणारविन्दे. So this is 1:16:16, and it means that Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the sons of Pandu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, according to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this verse is recited by Sutta Goswami to Naimisharanya sages, and I thought this is so beautiful, that how Krishna loves his devotees and Pandavas so much that he has taken so many different roles to serve them. Anyway, coming back to our pastime, Virat Raja, so he does get to see Krishna Balram, and then he arranges. So when he comes, Yudhishthir Maharaj says, when it is very hot, it is nice, the feeling of cool water or going for boating. So Yudhishthir Maharaj says that when Krishna and Balram comes, Virat Raja, you should arrange for Nauka Vihar festival, and also apply chandan on the soft bodies of Krishna and Balram. So Virat Raja, the king, does that. He very nicely does that. And so in lieu of this pastime, in Jagannath Puri, the Utsav deities or murtis, they are brought to Narendra Sarovar. And there the Nauka Vihar pastime takes place. And also for 21 days, chandan is offered to these Utsava murtis. And also, Akshaya Tirthiya this way marks the beginning of Chandan Yatra, and it lasts for 21 days. And in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, this is also connected to Madhavendra Puri. He is our Acharya who inaugurated Chandan Yatra to applying the Chanda to Gopalji. But instead of Gopalji to Gopinathji, and there is a very, very beautiful pastime there also. And I don't think we have time to cover that pastime, but it's a very beautiful pastime. So, and then in Andhra Pradesh, in Vishakhapatnam, it's a very holy place in Simhachalam. There is a Varaha Narsimha deity. And Prahlad Maharaj says to Narasimha Dev that you have killed my father and you have killed my uncle also in the form of Varahadev. So I want to see both the forms of Narasimha Dev and Varahadev together. So Hiranyakashipu, he was killed by Narasimha Dev, and to calm down Narasimha Dev afterwards, who was extremely still very much in anger, so much chandan is applied to Narasimha Dev, and every day chandan is applied to this Varaha Narasimha Dev in Simhachalam, this deity. Every day chandan is applied because he is meant to be in a very ugra form. So to calm him and cool him, every day chandan is applied. But on Akshaya Tirthiya day, that chandan is removed and the deity form is manifested. So beautiful darshan of the deities is available because the chandan is removed and deities is completely manifested. So darshan of Varaha Narasimha deity is available to devotees on Akshaya Tirthiya day, and all other days they see the form of Lord with chandan applied on top of him. So ultimately, discussing all these pastimes and the festivals, and for us at our level, sadhaka stage, my level, it's very important to understand this lesson ultimately, that what is important for sadhakas, for us, for devotees, is to perform sincere devotional service to Krishna and chant with intensity nicely, study the scriptures, do nice services. Shravanam is the foremost. Hear, read, then chant, Shravanam, Kirtanam, then Smaranam comes, right? As we know, like Mohini Murti, Bhagavatam will reveal to us more and more the more we come and how often we come closer and try to read, then Bhagavatam will reveal. So how Mohini Murti reveals herself to the Devtas, but not to demigods, not to demons. Thus, Bhagavatam will reveal, because the spiritual knowledge is revealed to us. It is not that on our own ability or intelligence we can understand. As so, and through the by the mercy and assistance and guidance of acharyas, we can understand. So, yeah, coming back to what I'm trying to say is that on these festival days, we understand that how important it is. Let's become more serious and sincere in our sadhana, and especially on these days we can intensify, because on festival days the Krishna's special mercy flows. That's what we have heard from our acharyas, that the mercy is really flowing on festival days. So we should be very eager, and we must try and grab as much as mercy that's possible available through our services and intention, because it's always the attitude, it is not the magnitude. As we all know that how the squirrel was also helping Lord Ram in building the bridge to Lanka by throwing the sand particles, and Hanuman was throwing big boulders. But for Lord Ram, they were both equally, he loved them both equally, because they were both trying to serve according to their own capacity, but their intention was of the same quality. So that's what, but specifically, I need blessings of all the devotees, because I really need to, I'm really speaking for myself here, that for my own purification. So please forgive any mistakes I made. There are so many pastimes to discuss, but the time is running out. And I'm sure all of you, there are so many senior devotees will know a lot more than me. And you can always discuss with one another, and we can do Machita Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam. So yes, let me see. I'm very sorry for my incomplete slides. Yeah, so I had just put, yeah, whatever I had put here, I think we have kind of discussed. So I will try to complete the slides if possible and then post to the group. So if there is anything else you want to add, correct, or comment, then please go ahead. Yeah, Hare Krishna. I'll conclude. Okay, so if there is nothing, then we will conclude today. Thank you so much for your association, and thank you so much for giving me the chance to do some Krishna Katha for my purification. Thank you, Sumadhu Radhika Mataji, for your encouragement.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
May I? Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for wonderful explanation. Just a question.
Okay.
When Nrsingadev appears to protect Prahlad Maharaj, is he a Ugra form, Nrsingadev?
Yes, Nrsingadev is always, he of course, Nrsingadev is Ugra form only, Mataji, but he becomes more and more angered. After killing Hiranyakashipu, the anger is actually too much. So it is even more. So he is Ugra form only when he appears from pillar in that form only, because he is very angry because he's pure devotee Prahlad Maharaj. For him, he comes to protect his devotees, and Prahlad Maharaj has suffered so much and so much torture of Hiranyakashipu, and Lord cannot, he loves his devotees so much, he cannot bear to see this. But all these things goes on also because Lord wants to, somebody could ask, why didn't Nrsingadev come first only? But Lord wants to give all, he's showing, he's glorifying his pure devotees. And it's a teaching for us that how strong is the faith of a pure devotee, even though Prahlad Maharaj goes through series of torture. So much is his own teachers are trying to torture him, his father. And so all these things keep on happening to show us, to glorify his pure devotee, this happens. To intensify the bhakti of even pure devotees, and to show us that how we should have a great faith in the Lord's protection. And after killing Hiranyakashipu, and his intestines are like a garland around his neck and everything, he is even more in such a ugra form that no one could calm him. Even all the demigods, devis, devtas, everybody is present there. Everyone's scared to go forward, but Prahlad Maharaj then goes. And then, actually Prahlad Maharaj sits in Nrsingadev's lap, and Nrsingadev licks his face like how a lion licks the face in. So yeah, he is in Ugra form.
So Mataji, that's clear. Thank you very much. So when Shri Lakshmi Devi ji sitting on another lap, so is the pastime is relating to Prahlad Maharaj's pastime as well?
I know. So here Lakshmi ji is always with Lord Nrsimhadev. But in this pastime, Nrsimhadev comes on his own to kill Hiranyakashipu. That is my understanding. And at that time, even Lakshmi Devi is not gone near to pacify him because he's so angered and, as you said, Ugra form. So, but Lakshmi ji is a consort. Like, how Sita Devi is consort of Lord Ram, Radha Rani is consort of Krishna, so Lakshmi Narayan, like that Lakshmi Narsimha. So that's why certain deities, Lakshmi ji is always on the sitting with Narsimhadev because she is the consort of Narsimhadev. But in this pastime, it is Narsimhadev. And
okay, so I always thought like to pacify Nrsingadev, Lakshmi Devi came as well. So that's why she's beside Nrsingadev. So that's not true.
Maybe somebody else can give their opinion if they are on the, whoever is assembled here, it's 50 of us. So I'm sure someone knows. But this is my understanding that at that time, there was no one who went forward but Prahlad Maharaj. Any other opinions on this? And we can always read up or I can find out.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Yes, Sindhulekha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Said that Lakshmi Devi also was there. Lakshmi Devi was not afraid of Nrsingadev because they live in Nrsinga planet. Lakshmi Devi has seen her husband like that. But just to give credit to the devotee, that's why she didn't go to pacify Nrsingadev. It's always like that. The Lord gave credit to his devotees. That's why Lakshmi Devi did not go forward.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so yes, Mataji, who asked the question, you got the answer. We got answer.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to have all these devotees on class so they can enlighten.
One question.
Yes, Urmila Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Actually, it's not a question. I'm a bit confused. You said that 60,000 sons and they were.
Sagaraman.
That I didn't understand properly. Would you please explain in a short form?
Oh, again. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, Mataji, what happened, to cut it short, is that, okay, so Bhagirath Muni, he prayed to Ganga Devi to descend to earth. Why?
No,
Because-
before that,
Yes.
who had 60,000 sons?
Yes. So this is what I'm saying, that Bhagirath was a descendant of Sagara Maharaj. So first it is Sagara Maharaj, his descendant in his lineage, Bhagirath Maharaj comes. And this Sagara Maharaj, he had 60,000 sons. Before Bhagirath Muni comes, he had 60,000 sons, and this Sagara Maharaj had performed Ashwamedha Yagna. While doing this yagna, his horse was lost. So these 60,000 sons go looking for the horse deep into the forest, where they find this horse who must have wandered near the ashram of Kapila Dev. So the 60,000 sons misunderstood that Kapila Dev stole the horse. And because of this offense, they were burnt to ashes, because Kapila Dev is incarnation of Supreme Lord Krishna. This offense itself burned them to ashes. So they are staying as a pile of ashes in one place. And obviously, being concerned, Bhagirath Muni, when he descends, this 60,000 sons becomes his previous descendants. So he wants to deliver them. That's why he prays to Ganga that if you come and purify them, then they can be delivered.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Because
Mataji.
you said Bhagirath Muni, but in the past, Bhagirath Raja was also spoken. So it's the same person.
Bhagirath, yeah, Bhagirath. Bhagirath is the one, Bhagirath Muni, who prays, and due to his devotion and determination, Ganges descends and Lord Shiva takes the power on his head. And when Mother Ganges said that how will all this sinful reaction on me that comes on me be, it will keep accumulating. So what to do? So then this beautiful verse is spoken by him that the holy devotees of the Lord are even holier than holy river. That is why the pure devotees of the Lord are so dear to Krishna, and that's why we should be respecting them, not offending them. And they, if they take bath with their Anga Sangat, Ganges is holy only, but to glorify the devotees, it is saying that Ganges' sinful reaction will completely remove from her waters. That's what, yeah. So it's to glorify the devotees.
Thank you very much. Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Okay. So
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Sorry, just one quick question.
No, it's fine. I can stay, but everybody else, if they have to leave, I totally understand.
Just
Yes,
very
Mataji.
quickly. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. You mentioned about 3 such dates. So the Akshaya Tirthiya today,
Yes.
the Dashera.
Vijayadashmi.
What was, yes, the Vijayadashmi. What's the third one, please?
It is Ugadi. And I don't have much knowledge of Ugadi, but it is like,
Okay.
I think, is it to do with the South Indian festival, Ugadi?
Okay.
When the harvest take place or something, we can look up more by searching
Ugadi.
on it. Yeah,
Ugadi.
So
Okay, thank you,
usually,
Mataji.
yeah, Ugadi.
Thank
So
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for all the messages on the chat. I'm very, very grateful for please give me your blessings if you liked anything I spoke today. I really need your blessings to, so I can do something good with my sadhana and become more sincere. So we'll meet again, hopefully. I won't be here this Saturday, maybe next Saturday. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to assembled devotees, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Lovely.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.